Sometimes, the quietest moments carry the loudest pain. The kind you don't scream about. The kind you whisper to yourself when you think no one is listening. On one ordinary evening, in a small corner of a busy city, two tired hearts were about to cross paths, neither knowing how much the other needed that moment. What began as a single act of kindness would change two lives forever, and reveal a love that had been silently growing all along. Before we begin, if you enjoy emotional stories that remind you of the goodness still left in the world, please subscribe to the channel, Heartfelt Moments. Like this video if it moves you, and leave a comment. Your thoughts might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. Mark Wilson was a single dad who hadn't planned on staying out late that night. At 37, his life revolved around early mornings, packed lunches, and bedtime stories for his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. His wife had passed away 3 years earlier, and since then, Mark had learned how to survive on very little sleep and even less emotional energy. He worked as a rideshare driver after his day job, just enough to keep the lights on and Lily smiling. That evening, he was about to log off when one last ride request popped up. He sighed, rubbed his tired eyes, and accepted it. Across town, Emily Carter sat on a bench outside a cafe, staring at her phone like it might give her answers. She was 32, successful on paper, and completely exhausted inside. She had just come from a date that went painfully wrong. The man across the table had talked about himself non-stop, dismissed her dreams, and laughed when she mentioned wanting a more meaningful life. When she tried to explain how overwhelmed she felt, he shrugged and said, "Everyone's tired. That's life." That was when something inside her broke. Emily walked out before dessert arrived. She sat there now, fighting tears, whispering to herself, "I can't do this anymore." When Mark's car pulled up, he noticed her red eyes immediately. "Rough night?" he asked gently, as she got in. She forced a smile. "Something like that." The drive started in silence, broken only by the hum of traffic. Mark didn't push. He had learned that sometimes silence was kinder than questions. But halfway through the ride, Emily let out a shaky breath. "Do you ever feel like you're trying so hard, and no one really sees you?" she asked quietly. Mark glanced at her in the rearview mirror. "All the time," he said honestly. That was all it took. Emily began to talk. About failed relationships. About feeling invisible. About being tired of pretending she was okay. Mark listened, not with advice, not with interruptions, but with full attention. When she apologized for oversharing, he smiled. "You're not a burden," he said. "You're human." When they reached her apartment, Emily reached for her purse and froze. I think I left my wallet at the restaurant," she said, panic rising. "I'm so sorry." Mark waved it off. "Don't worry about it. I'll mark the ride complete. But you won't get paid." He shrugged. "I'll be okay." She stared at him, stunned. "Why would you do that for someone you don't even know?" Mark thought of Lily. Of the nights he'd barely held himself together. Of strangers who had shown him grace when he needed it most. "Because I know what it feels like to be at the end of your rope," he said. Emily's eyes filled with tears again, but this time, they were different. "Thank you," she whispered. Over the next few weeks, Emily couldn't stop thinking about him. His calm voice. His kindness. The way he made her feel seen in just 20 minutes. She started taking the same cafe route home, hoping, just hoping, she'd see his car again. One night, she did. Mark recognized her instantly. "Hey," he said, surprised. "You're okay?" She smiled. "I am. Thanks to you." That ride turned into another conversation. Then another. Soon, they were meeting for coffee. Emily learned about Lily. About Mark's late wife. About how love had once broken him, but kindness kept him going. Mark learned that Emily volunteered at a shelter. That she loved painting but never showed anyone her work. That she had been quietly falling for him, even when she tried not to. One evening, after putting Lily to bed, Mark sat in his car, staring at his phone. Emily had invited him to dinner. He typed, erased, typed again. "I can't do this anymore," he whispered to himself, not in despair, but fear. Fear of loving again. Fear of loss. The next day, Emily noticed something was wrong. "You don't have to be strong all the time," she told him softly. "I'm not asking you to save me. I just want to walk beside you." That was when Mark realized something powerful. He hadn't just saved her that night. She had been saving him too. Months later, Lily sat between them at a park, laughing as Emily helped her paint a picture. Mark watched them, his heart full in a way he thought was impossible again. All because of one kind choice. One unpaid ride. One moment of listening. Kindness doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes, it comes quietly, through patience, understanding, and showing up when it's inconvenient. But its impact can last a lifetime. If this story touched you, remember this: you never know how deeply your kindness can change someone's life. A simple act, done with love, might become someone else's turning point. So be gentle. Be present. And spread kindness, because it matters more than you'll ever know.